Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Tuesday, it's the 6th of August, and I have a pleasing update to share with you all. And by that I mean I think I have fixed one of the last big impediments before we can start meaningfully testing vEFPS. And so thought I'd record quite a quick video. I'm hoping it's quite short, just demonstrating exactly what it is that we've delivered and developed. So from a previous video, you'll remember that essentially we have the ability to move strips around, we can move strips forwards and backwards, we can SID trigger strips. Modern life is goodish. We have separate workflows for arrivals and departures, so I can go and SID trigger this arrival and it ends up in the arrival sequence bay, or I can SID trigger this departure and it goes from pending to cleared, and if I do that all the way down in the holding point, it goes nowhere because that has to be a conscious action I've clicked too many times and it got upset with me. But essentially, what we lacked was the ability to do that on some other different screen. So if I log in here with some test credentials, I need to count in my head. What we should have is a little breakpoint here. Now, what this is saying is that this is by default because it can't find that CID logged into the network. It's a test CID from the test environment. I'm just going to pretend that this user is Heathrow Tower. Now, both of these tabs are essentially Heathrow Tower. What is important here is that if I open the development tools for these two separate browser windows, why they've opened in different places, I have no idea, but there they are. So one of these is ZSD, has a Blazor ID of ZSD, and the other has a Blazor ID of SLM9. So two separate browsers. One of these is incognito, as you'll have seen, so there's no shared browser cache or cookies or anything like that between the left instance and the right instance, and each of these has a discrete Blazor ID. They are totally separate, discrete instances of the vEFPS UI. Crucially, I can manipulate data in one, and it affects the other. So what we're seeing here is messages coming from the very first client to perform some sort of action. A message is sent to the hub validates that, processes it centrally, and essentially then sends it back out to all of the other connector clients. And what I mean by that here is this Speedbird169 is now in the cleared bay. If I refresh this window on the right, bearing in mind I'm going to hit my breakpoint again, by the time I come back, go away breakpoint, that is now persisted in there, so every new connection to the hub, the data gets redistributed and everyone sees a copy of that information. The same is true for arrivals. All of these strips behave in the same way. They adhere to their workflow. There's a few sort of teething issues, but principally everything is fine. Now, that was sort of working before. It wasn't dependent on the idea that data was going to go to the hub and then be redistributed to the client. But to really demonstrate this point a little bit more clearly, we can pretend here that this is not Heathrow Tower at all. This is actually Gatwick Tower. And if I release that from that breakpoint, I think it's ended up straight back there because of Blazor things. Should have seen that one coming, Rovis. Again, there we go. Now, we have a different set of strips. We only have the one as it so happens. And crucially, I can manage the state of these independently. So we can see messages being exchanged, but crucially, it doesn't care about rendering that to all of the connected users. It only cares about sending this to the people that are relevant. Now, the same is true. You'll remember I've got my little test harness here of adding new aircraft. So if I go and have a look at Gatwick right now, we've got Delta 1111. And if I send a message, that only gets processed on the Gatwick side and not on the Heathrow side. And the same is true if I go and borrow some Heathrow inbound, Speedbird 900 Alpha, for example. Speedbird 900, you see that only appear on the one side. So what we have is a demonstration here of totally independent strip management. We've seen in the first example, I can have two different users connected both at Heathrow. And we'll say what we'll do one more example, but multiple users connected at the same airport, and we see that those strips get managed and displayed in the right way. If I then have a second instance of the application, that only sees the information that it cares about. And then this third example is if I, and I don't enjoy having to do everything twice, but I do have to do everything twice, and there are good reasons for that, which I won't go into. But If I engineer this example quickly, F5, it should only happen twice, that's good. So this is now Heathrow Ground on the right hand side and Heathrow Tower on the left hand side. Two different users controlling two different positions. We should, he says, no, it's broken on this side, that's quite annoying. Like I said, it's not quite fully finished, there's still a few bugs, still a few teething issues, but crucially, I'm in a position now that we can drive this forward. But there you go, if I refresh this side, I can push that strip over on the other side. Everything is working exactly as it should for now. There's still work to be done. Obviously, like I said, this was the one big impediment. This was something that I absolutely had to get fixed before we could make meaningful progress on the project. We've now done that. I remain hopeful that if I can get this deployed to an environment come the weekend, those of you who are coming to VEFPS UK Live will see a real, tangible example of this working. I intend, if I can, to control with this over the course of the weekend, and I figure there is no substitute for actual experience in finding bugs and finding things that require improvement in your application. So, if you've watched, thank you so much for watching. If you supported the project even for 5 minutes or for the months and months and months that I've been working on this, thank you all for your support. More is to come. We're very nearly there. We've very nearly finished the whole framework of stuff. And hopefully we can introduce some competition to the enemy, and hopefully this will be in your hands within the next few weeks or months. You will be hearing from me and my team very soon.